Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Cowboy. Give me a shout. Somebody over in the comments. Let me know that you're getting audio. Still shaking the bugs out of this new computer system, and it's a pain in the butt. I had it all looking good. I got up early, had it ready to go. Everything is flowing fine. All the dials and everything were where they needed to be. And then, of course, right as I'm going to go live, the audio shook out. So good, Mavbet. Thank you for telling me that the audio works. All right, good. So, do we have a local bottom on Bitcoin? Let's take a look here. Yeah, interesting stuff in the charts. I thought I would either go up, but I had a contingency plan for Bitcoin to reject at 108. And 108 is a key area in the price discovery levels. Okay, so those of you at Algo Factory understand how we look at price discovery levels. We have a couple of different methods, and Bitcoin has its own quirks, if you will. So using that type of information, I had 108 as a target, and boy, did that have a great result, right? So it pierced 108, went up to about 108, 390, and then it's coming back down. As it did, my contingency began to make a lot of sense, right? So it didn't end up going up and continuing up. It did follow the contingency plan. And of course, when I have a contingency, it's easy for me to trade that because I use algorithms to tell me, okay, this might be turning around right here. I know at least not to go long until it breaks the target area. And if it does turn around, I can take advantage of that move down. So the question is price at a local bottom, right? Is price going to bounce right here? Well, there is a fair amount of liquidity between 99,500 and 99 and excuse me 101,500. So 99.5 to 101,500. And it may grab that liquidity and go. I'm going to take a brief look at the algos. There's still some vulnerability, some bearishness in the algos, but we might see price simply go sideways until it goes up. We are still in the middle of the bull, although we're starting to get a little bit late into the bull market, right? So, the bull market really started about a year ago, a little more than a year ago to be true, but it really went into kind of full force back in Q1 of 2024. And so, that's what we're dealing with, right? And it looks like for the moment, price may just simply bounce right here and move up, or it may head down a little bit deeper. But if we look here, we have this kind of, we'll call it, I heard it called the vertical accumulation, a great kind of term for this, where price kind of just wags back and forth, more or less higher highs, higher lows. So if it were to continue this pattern, then we might be seeing that low now. It would make a lot of sense. It could dip a little bit deeper and head up after that. This is a very, very plausible scenario. Of course, anything is possible. I mean, Bitcoin may never go above 108. Bitcoin could go to 208. So nothing is set in stone, of course. But we do understand that there's just a good probability the price is going to go past 108,000, and it may look like this. And we might have already seen the bottom here, or we might not. So again, there's some vulnerability. I think if price were to not go any lower than 98,800, which is this low right here from yesterday, then what it would probably look like is going to be just some sideways action and then maybe up, right? So it might need to gather steam and shake off some bears, stuff like that, and then get some weak hands out of the market and head up. That's a pretty likely scenario here. It could, kind of head down and grab a little more liquidity. It's very possible. So either way, though, I don't expect it at the moment to go below 90,000. It could. It certainly could. That's extremely possible. Don't get me wrong. Like, there could be a pullback pretty deep, but if you look at prior years at this time in the market, we don't get those kind of pullbacks. Usually we'll get a strong pullback, but it usually, even if you get something that goes that deep, it doesn't last very long. So, they oftentimes, the market makers will want to shake out the weak hands and shake off the leverage before it goes up. And if we saw a deep move down, that probably would be why. Now, Solana doing pretty much what I said, even deeper than what I thought. I know a lot of people were very optimistic about Solana at this time in the market, but you'll see that my predictions have it heading deeper, and it even went deeper than what I thought it would do. It didn't quite bounce as high as I thought, and now it's headed down. I don't want to put an arrow there because it's going to make it look like I predicted that, and I did not. I predicted it, but I wasn't quite right. So for the moment, I think Solana is going to it's building a bull flag. It could pop up out of that at any time, but for the moment, the algos are just a little bit vulnerable on the daily. And I don't expect price to bump up until it might even have to dip down to like 185, but it might not go below 200 for very long. I mean, it's not guaranteed that it's going to head down. It's just there's a fair amount of kind of flip around in the high 180s. There's a fair amount of pivot points in recent history. Got there, here. So with that said, it wouldn't surprise me to see Solana kind of hang back, especially while Bitcoin is volatile, and eventually make its way up. Right? It could pop up at any time, though. It is Solana, so that is what that is. So let me see here. It's okay. We started a little bit late, so I'm going to continue before we move to the live lab. Great win. Great win on the USD CAD yesterday. I exited right at the top of this. Now, as you can see, the actual trade went further, right? The actual trade called for a move all the way up to 146, basically, to $1.46 versus the Canadian. Actually, I think that's $1.46 Canadian versus the dollar. And so the reason I didn't let the trade go all the way, so I might get back into this trade. But whenever I see a pump like this in the market, which probably was FOMC related, whenever I see a pump like that the rule I have, and this is a rule, the rule is when the market gives me a gift, I take it. Simple as that. And when you see a candle like that, that means price is probably going to pull back and then go back into that same pattern. So there's a really good chance that as it does that, I might re-enter this trade with some new metrics and a new stop, because I do think there's plenty of room for this to head back up. And so that's something that I would definitely pay attention to. So now I got a question here from Toriak. I hope I said that right. My vision's a little blurry today. I usually have, I wear glasses, but Toriak. I hope I said that right. So your question is about XRP. Look, here's the thing about XRP. It missed out in the early in the prior cycles, and that's a reason why I actually wasn't as interested in XRP as I used to be. But I told my, everybody's so split on Ripple, and for me, I think it has like kind of some great concepts. It has it has all these great relationships, and I also think the people who are all about Ripple are a little too cultish, and the people who hate it a little too much, and they're a little too cultish. And everybody, whether they like it or hate it, just seems to have very strong emotions about Ripple. I don't really give a flying fig Newton, man. It's either going to go up or not. And I know, okay, it's the banker's coin. Shut up. I don't give a. You know what I mean? I don't care. Like, either you're going to make money or not in this market. So I don't want to hear any BS about it's going to save the world, and I don't want to hear any BS about it's the devil's banker's coin. I don't care. What I care about is it going to make me money? And in this case, it's broken its high from the prior years, as Tariq mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit and look on the weekly. And back a year ago, or whenever it wasn't a year ago, but maybe it was. Gosh, time flies. I sold all my Ripple, and I had a lot, and I bought Solana with it. And Solana went up quite a bit. So I was able to, kind of sell some of that Solana and buy just as much Ripple as I had before. And what's the key point here is that it broke the 2021 high. And that's a big deal, because a lot of these older altcoins, they're not matching their 2017, 2018, and their 2021 highs. They're not doing it. And Ripple just did. It broke it. Now, not in terms of Bitcoin, though. It's still being outpaced by Bitcoin, but we have a lot of new stuff coming out about Ripple. Brad Garlinghouse I think he's on like 60 Minutes, and that might also be a sell signal. I'm not going to lie. Whenever you see something happen on the main news about any crypto, it's like, I got to sell it. But given what Ripple is, I took a wager on it. I took a bet. I apportioned a decent amount of my crypto over to it, because not only has it broken its prior high right there, but it's holding above that. How high could it go? Well, this is more of a fundamental question, Tariq. Is it going to go ahead and take over Swift? I really doubt it. I know a lot of people think it will. I know that's what is being said. I mean, it's the banker's coin. If any coin was going to do it, it would be Ripple. I really have a hard time believing that the powers that be are going to relinquish their power for the premier international fund transfer mechanism. It just doesn't seem realistic to me, but it's possible. And if that happened, then you're talking, I don't know, $100 Ripple. I mean, it would be ridiculous. The price of Ripple at that point, from a fundamental standpoint, would be insane. But from a charting standpoint, just from looking at what's happened to the price and assuming that it remains bullish and it doesn't just go back down, and it very well could. Ripple could be done. It could just go back down and I'll lose a bunch of money because I took a bet on it. And that's possible, and that's the risk we take in crypto. But this is a 382 pullback. A 382 pullback usually means it's pretty bullish. Now, it could just go down. I'm not saying it's going to go up, but it broke down and bounced right at that 382, and it bounced real strong. And I'm using a Fibonacci tool here, right? So just from a charting standpoint, my next target would be, let's see here, I got to move this little widget, about $4.50. So 439. Now, again, how high can it go is a fundamental question, but from a charting standpoint, the next target I would have would be about $4.50. And you're talking about a new all-time high, right? So thanks for watching, everybody. We're going to jump over to the private live lab. Come to algofactory.tech. I can show you how I predict these prices. And eventually what you're going to do is develop your own method to predict these prices. You'll be able to do it in your own way. It's a way that I won't understand unless you care to share it with me. And that's why we're successful. Trading is not some get-rich-quick scheme. It takes time. You have to learn how to do it, and you have to learn the right way how to do it. And generally, you have to develop your own method. So come on to, I can't talk. Come to algofactory.tech. Trade like a hedge fund pro. And while you're at it, never, ever, ever forget.
Join us or die.